So all of those years ago, when James Gunn was announced to be directing and writing Guardians of the Galaxy, was there any doubt that Michael Rooker was in fact going to be cast in this film? If you follow James Gunn's work, you probably expected it. Now we recently found out some interesting details from Rooker himself, so let's talk about his role in the Guardians. You can't take Michael Rooker away from James Gunn. That's just not gonna happen. So recently, while Rooker was doing the rounds, talking up, his career, his future, whether there can be a return of Yondu, he was specifically wanted to elaborate further on getting the role for Guardians of the Galaxy. Now you guys can find the article linked down below if you want to read the entire thing. There's some more details, but what he does reveal is the fact that originally, right around the same time, he was working on The Walking Dead, which might have conflicted with some of the actual shooting that was happening with Guardians, and of course the prep work, and who knows, how long his role was going to be. And as it turns out, he actually contacted James Gunn telling him he wanted to do Yondu because his schedule allowed him to do that instead of the other character. Then he goes on and reveals that Yondu was the character he picked because originally he was going to Korath. Now, Korath, of course, ended up coming back recently in Captain Marvel, but it's interesting to think how different that character probably would have been had he been played by Michael Rooker. Now, in hindsight, I think it's pretty safe to say that mostly everybody enjoyed Rooker's portrayal of, the character he ended up playing of Yondu, and I think it ended up being probably the best case scenario. Now, had he actually been Korath, I think that would have been somewhat not as good, if you get what I'm saying, because the way that Korath is acting in those films, he lacks a sort of personality, and Michael Rooker, when you get him, you kind of know what you're getting with him. You're getting that attitude and that screen presence and that certain renegade rebel style acting, and that's exactly what he did with Yondu. So again, I think everything ended up kind of going in a good direction, and maybe, eventually we'll get a screen test or something of Rooker as Korath, because originally, like I said, he was cast for it, which means he auditioned for it. And it'll be interesting, but knowing Marvel Studios, they'll probably never show it to us, because they like to just sit on everything and not show us any of the deleted stuff. So how do you guys feel about this? Do you think he would have done good as Korath, or are you just glad that he was Yondu because he made that role his own?